Good evening, lords and ladies, lads and lasses. It's a dark night tonight. We have to say goodbye to our good friends, Sir Duncan the Tall and Prince Aegon Targaryen. But tonight we're covering the season finale of episode one of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. It's the morrow. I'm Zach Miller. He's Martin Cooke. And Martin, you want to walk us through what happened in this very short finale?
Yeah, it was very short, and this was just basically kind of wrapping up all the loose ends from everything that had happened so far this season. So, it starts with Dunk just wrecked against a tree, and the Laughing Storm's Maester thinks that he's actually dying, but the Laughing Storm assures us that he's a shit Maester and doesn't know what he's talking about. And then, essentially, though, Dunk is called before Maekar, who and they have a very tense conversation. But then Maker tells him that he wants him to take Aegon as his squire, but live with them at Summerhall. And Dunk isn't having that. He's done with princes until a little bit later. He's meeting a bunch of his other friends. Sir Raymond and him share a big hug. Um, but then he gets a little bit of talking to from the drunk Targaryen, and he comes to realize that maybe it's the environment that these Targaryens are being raised in, and so he decides, okay, I'll take Aegon, but only if I can take him on the road with me. Maekar isn't having this, says no, and that seems to be it. And Dunk seems to be going off on his own until, just as he's about to hit the road, there's Egg, ready to say that that his father said that he could come along, which, as we find out just at the very end, isn't true at all. Eggs scampered off again.
Yeah, yeah, that about sums it up. Two very interesting musical choices bookend this episode. That's
Hmm.
the top note that I had. We
Yeah.
we open with like neo-noir saxophone at the beginning, and saxophone has never been used in any Westeros series
No,
yet.
definitely not. Yeah.
It made me laugh right away because
Yeah.
this show has just been so offbeat compared to Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, and it seems like the showrunners are just having so much fun with the creative freedom that they have.
Yeah,
And
I think so. Yeah.
then the credits the music for the credits is 16 tons, an old coal mining railroad song.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, a more kind of well, modern comparatively speaking, lyrical like a song with lyrics. So yeah, again, we haven't really had anything like that on Game of Thrones before. So yeah, very interesting choices. So that, as you say, this was the episode not only to say goodbye to Dunk and Egg, but all the other friends we've made this season. And start kicks us right off with probably the best or my favorite character in this whole show, and
MVP.
that's good old Laughing Storm, and we're sure gonna miss him. What a great send off for him.
Yeah, because he's also taken a few lumps during during the trial of the seven, and
Yeah.
he's on a stag crutch, of course. Everything with the
Yes.
has to have some kind of antler on it,
Yeah.
but he's just chilling with Dunk, being a bro, just encouraging him, telling the Maester that he can't even cure a dirty asshole.
Yeah. Itchy ass, I'd like to
Oh yeah,
say.
it's the asshole. Yeah, but he walks over, takes a piss. He struggles for a minute, but it's a very realistic piss.
Yeah.
But he wants Dunk to come with him to Storm's End and just be his bro. And he basically says that he's like, I will love you like a brother, and if you don't come, fuck you, I'll hate you like a brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's Laughing Storm in a nutshell.
Yeah, which I guess is how it's going to be because yeah, Dunk decides not to go to Storm's End and hang out with him. Uh, yeah, it's good you pointed out the antler crutch that he has. One thing the show did really well is kind of play up, I mean, kind of in a fun way, play up all the things associated with the great houses.
Mm.
So we had some more Apple stuff in this one, you know. So Raymond's gonna go off now that he's married a prostitute. He's gonna go off and maybe ramp up his family's cider business. And then we had a Beesbury funeral where they put a whole bunch of bees around the funeral thing. I love how they played up all the just the aspects of the houses and their sigils and stuff, and really had it have meaning for these houses in the show.
Yeah, I thought the B thing was particularly cool because
Yeah.
that was a change from the books. There were some significant changes in the books, which I'll get to from the books, which I'll get to later in the episode. But
Mm,
uh yeah, the bee thing was cool. And of course, Baelor has to burn because he's a Targaryen.
of
Fire him.
course. Yeah.
But I love that the transition where Lionel's walking off, and it's the last thing he says in the season. He's walking away on his crutches, like, "I'll see you after the roast." And it turns out he's referring to Baylor's funeral.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love the way this show all season has been able to balance the serious with the funny. And we do
Mm,
go from that hilarious scene with the laughing storm to this very somber moment where Baylor is being burned. Dunk is just so ridden with guilt and uncertainty. And why was he spared while this guy who would have been a great king is dead,
yeah.
fighting for him? And Laughing Storm tries to make light of it that Baylor didn't really risk anything in the trial of the seven. But I mean,
Yeah.
when there's swords and lances and maces flying, anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly. As we know. Yeah. With
And then
Baylor.
so Dunk meets Baylor's son, who we haven't met yet and only has this one scene.
Right. And what's his name? Because we don't really get the name in the show, I don't think, do we?
It's one of those that starts with an A. I know it's not Aegon. I think it might be Ares. I forget. They all are so similar, but
Right, right.
yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head. But he did a really good job in that one little scene that he was in, just kind
Mm,
of telling Dunk, my dad would have been a great king. Why again? Dunk's already guilt-ridden enough, but he's like,
yeah,
fuck off. I don't want to talk to you. You're the reason my dad died. But I
yeah.
thought the actor did a really good job, and he also has that what I forget what the condition is called, where you have two different colored eyes.
Heterochromia, I think is what it's called.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So he has one brown eye, one blue eye, just like his dad did, and that's something that you'd only catch really on the inside the episode segments
Yeah,
because
I didn't notice that actually. Yeah.
yeah, so they put like one contact in to make their eye color because Baelor is half Dornish and half Targaryen. That's why he didn't have the blonde hair. Just getting deep in the woods here, but that's
Right.
why. But their attention to detail is just astounding.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I was wondering about Baylor's son and what kind of his story is, and I wonder if they're setting us up to see more of him in season two. I don't know. I mean, you can tell me if he shows up in the books again or not.
That's
Um,
anything about
the
that.
the prostitute that Sir Raymond marries, he knows she's a prostitute, right?
He has to.
Because wasn't he like he was there when she was sleeping with his cousin, right? I thought.
Was he? No, she was sleeping with the Dondarrion guy.
Oh, that's right, the Dondarrion. Okay, so I guess
But still, like,
he has to know.
yeah,
But
yeah,
whatever,
and
he's found happiness, so good
yeah,
for him.
he seems very very
He
happy.
does. Yeah.
Also a major change from the books. Yeah, well, first of all, this prostitute doesn't even exist in the books, and
Right.
yeah, Raymond definitely does not get married to a prostitute. Basically, the last that we see of him in the book is when he takes Baylor's helm off and he expires. So
Oh, okay.
because
Yeah.
the book wraps up pretty quickly after that, and I was wondering after the trial of the seven, kind of like I did last week, how they're going to stretch this out because it's basically just an epilogue, and it was very short. I think the episode in total was only like 32 minutes or something like that. But yeah, there was. Yeah, that scene between Dunk and Makor was really tense and very
Yeah.
well acted. You can see
Yes.
where both characters are coming from
Yep.
in their respective viewpoints. I mean, they're both kind of outcasts from society at this point.
Yeah, they're both clearly feeling the guilt of Baylor's death in their own way. Although Dunk is doing a better job of kind of taking it on himself, whereas Makar, he's sort of feeling guilty, but he's also kind of looking to lash out and find blame in somebody else, and in this case,
Yeah,
Dunk.
classic
Yeah.
Targaryen. And then another really interesting change from the book. Egg is eavesdropping on this conversation between his dad, Makor, and Dunk. And as you said before, Dunk said he's done with princes, and Egg is understandably very disappointed that he's losing his bestie. But
Yeah, Egg's face when he hears Dunk say, "No, I'm done with Princess." That was incredible. Just so yeah, he's just crestfallen.
But then we cut to Egg in his bedchambers, and I thought it was adorable that his legs were dangling and he couldn't even reach the floor when he was sitting on his bed. And
Yeah,
again, very, very cool little detail. But there's a very sinister thing that, again, huge change from the book, where he's planning on maybe walking into Arion's bedchamber while he's wounded and stabbing him with
yeah,
a little fish dagger he has.
yeah.
So it shows that Egg is on the precipice of becoming either, a good squire and a good man, or just another crazy ass Targaryen.
Yeah, and that's clearly the whole point of this episode is sort of Egg, as you say, on the precipice. It's decision point for Dunk, but it's about what is the future of Egg gonna be? And is he gonna follow in the footsteps of a lot of other Targaryens? Or can Dunk basically, raise him right? And so yeah, that was I thought, like, obviously I don't know if it made more sense in the book to keep Egg a little more pure, but I thought in this case it worked because
Yeah, definitely.
it
Yeah,
gives it gives more meaning to Dunk's decision, I think.
yeah, I loved every change that they made.
Hmm.
And which brings us to a flashback that we have with Duncan, Sir Arlen Pennytree. Uh,
Yes.
Arlen looks like he's about to expire, and he's telling Dunk this story about knights serving lords and stuff. And then it looks like Dunk definitively was not knighted. And while that was happening, I was like, this is the only change that they've made that I'm really disappointed in, because this whole thing has been about Dunk being uncertain about himself and that kind of ambiguity about whether he actually was knighted or not. And for them to definitively come down on one side, I was really disappointed. And then all of a sudden, Sir Arlen
Yeah.
pops back
Wakes
up.
up to finish the story. Yeah.
And I was just like, God damn, they got me. That was amazing. I cracked up. It was great. It was fantastic. So
Yeah,
we
they,
still don't.
they they definitely got me on that too. And I was starting to think, oh, so Dunk's this whole time he's been so virtuous and all about honor and being a true knight. And yet the whole time he's kind of a fraud and he's lying. Um, so yeah, they definitely got me too, because then when he woke up, he was like, oh, okay, okay. So I like your point though about ambiguity, because I was wondering if after that, once he woke up, then they were going to have him knight him and give
Mm.
that definitive answer. But I think I like the fact that they're leaving it open, and who knows if they'll ever give us a definitive answer, or at least the show in flashbacks later on in subsequent seasons. But I like that they're leaving it open for now.
Yeah, me too. And yeah, they really, really threw me for a loop there, and I was very pleased with it.
Yeah.
Because when you read the source material and you're still surprised by the stuff that they throw at you, I mean, it's like having your cake and eating it too. It's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's see what else happened. Raymond's just the consummate bro. He reminds me so much of Podrick Payne from Game of Thrones, where he's just
Yeah, yeah.
has this undying loyalty, and apparently he's also good in the sack, or at least, well, I mean, prostitutes are paid to pretend, so we don't know that yet.
Yeah.
But he did get her
Well,
pregnant.
and she married up, right? I mean, if she's been living as a prostitute following around tourneys, and now she gets to live with it. He's a minor lord, but she gets to live with the lord, so not bad on her part there.
Oh, the Ashford girl finally got a line
Yes, yeah. Just
because
to show us that she's Team Dunk.
yeah, yeah. And because it was so funny, I forgot if it was last week or the week before where you were like, they keep showing this girl in the stands, and you're like, what's the story with her? And I was just like, yeah, it's basically her like coming out party, her debutante, Sweet 16, whatever. But
Yeah, and I didn't even realize in the show that it was her name day. And like you had mentioned that it was sort of her debutante thing. But I don't think they had said in the show that it was her name day until she says it. She's like, I don't blame you for ruining my name day.
actually, it was pretty exciting. It was the first trial of 700 years. I don't know why she's upset.
Yeah, yeah, it didn't ruin it. Well, I guess maybe cast a pall over it with the death of the heir to the Iron Throne, maybe.
This is supposed to be my
Yeah,
day.
exactly.
Okay, so we got Makar and Dunk, and talked a little bit about Damon the drunkard,
Yeah,
and
right. Damon, not Darren. Yeah, I called him Darren earlier.
yeah, because the king is Darren. Like, God, these Targaryens, man,
Yeah,
just
all the same names.
and yeah, so Dunk takes the case to Makor when he when he changes his mind and wants to take Aegon as a squire. He gives both Darren um Arian as examples of like what can happen when princes are raised in castles. Darren is just
Damon. Or no, wait a minute. Now
Damon,
maybe I was right calling him Darren. I can't. Yeah, I can't remember.
did I
And
call him Damon?
you said Damon, and I had said Darren, but
Damon is the current king, and Darren the Dreamer is his name.
okay. So I was right calling him Darren
Yes,
then
okay.
earlier. Okay, yeah.
So yeah, so one brother is a drunk and just a total loser who, during the trial, I mean, during the trial of the seven, just lay down in the mud, didn't do anything, and then Aaron Brightflame is just a total asshole.
Yeah.
By the way, Maekor decides to send Aaron off to the Free Cities for a few years to
Yes.
make him a better man, which is not a good idea.
Yeah, that seems like a terrible idea. People
It's like
don't
the
go off
worst
to
thing you
the
could
free
possibly
cities and become better.
do.
I
Yeah.
don't think that's happened at any point in Game of Thrones. So,
No, I mean maybe Arya, but that's about it.
yeah. Well, better killer, I guess. I don't know if she
Yeah.
became better, but
Better as what she always wanted to do was just kill.
I suppose.
So I mean, Dunk has a really good point.
Yeah,
Maker also has kind of a good point that Dunk is a shitty knight and he needs to finish his training as well.
absolutely. Yeah. My
He
man
can
at
barely
arms.
fight. He can barely
Yeah,
fight. He can't joust for shit. The only reason he won is just through brute strength and willpower, which I
yeah,
mean counts for something, but it's not going to win him every battle that he's in.
yeah.
So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and then it seems at the end they're heading off possibly towards Dorne, which is interesting because Dorne at this point hadn't been part of the Seven Kingdoms for that long, right?
Yeah, they
Uh,
were the last to join. That's why their words are unbowed, unbent, unbroken.
right. So that'll be interesting to see if we do start off next season with them in Dorne. That would be kind of
Yeah,
cool.
and it's such a cowboy western ending where they just literally ride off into the sunset.
Yeah,
Raymond again, just like such a bro. He goes and gets Sweetfoot back, the horse that Dunk had to sell to get his shield painted, get a shield and his shield painted back in episode 2 or 3,
yeah.
and he's just such a good
He
guy.
is. Yeah, yeah.
But
And their
Dunk,
bro hug was well earned.
Yeah, even though it lasted a good 15 seconds, and Dunk's finally like, all right, this is getting weird. And that's basically his interaction. That's basically the dart left, dart right eyes is an interaction whenever whenever Raymond's making out with his new wife as well.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, try not to look right at them. Yeah. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
basically the last thing before we see Maker freaking out because Egg's gone again is Egg telling Dunk that actually everybody's wrong. It's not seven kingdoms, it's nine kingdoms. Even to the point that the final title card they show up is a Knight of the Nine Kingdoms.
It's also made me crack up.
Yeah, which
And
is
it's also
pretty funny.
it's always been a point of contention among like the fandom.
Right.
It's a really cool little like inside Easter egg because everybody's like, why is it called Seven Kingdom when there's all these like fractious things and then like there's all these borders moving around and
Yeah.
it's just easier to call it Seven Kingdoms and just wrap it up in one neat package. But Egg, being the learned little prince that he is and such a fanboy of all the knights and houses and history of Westeros, like he just counts them off, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
He's like, and Dunk's like, well, I mean, I don't know shit, so
Yeah. He's like,
whatever.
oh, wait. Doug's still trying to figure it out. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I mean not to get too inside, but maybe at the moment, at the time of the conquest, Iron Islands wouldn't have been a separate kingdom, maybe.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, they're always in rebellion, and
yeah, so that's one down, and I don't know where they get to seven. And then yeah, of course, when Aegon the Conqueror came, he didn't even get Dorne as part of the Seven Kingdoms for a long time. So,
yeah, the Targaryens had to marry into the Dornish into the Martell family to
yeah,
finally bring in them into the fold, and that's the line that Baylor comes from.
right.
So yeah, I love the not the final shot, but the final shot of Dunk and Egg where they're riding off into the sunset, and Sir Arlen is like
Yeah.
riding, and then he veers off to the left, and I thought that was really evocative, and I thought that was just it could have been really cheesy if they did that wrong, but
Mm.
I thought it was really cool the way they did that. I got a little bit of goosebumps.
Yeah, I liked it too, actually. Yeah, and they weren't quite riding off into the sunset because you could see the sun was off to their right. So I guess yeah, they were but it sort of as you say reminiscent of an old western where they're riding off into the sunset.
Yeah, and throughout the series, there was always like the whistling theme that
Yeah.
they had too.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely a lot of genres mixed into this medieval fantasy that we have. And then so the biggest change from the books out of the entire series so far is that in the books, Makor approves this arrangement that Dunk proposes.
Okay.
That he convinces him that yes, it would be better to take Aegon and let him live the life of a peasant, learn how to, make his own food, sleep under trees, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So that adds a very interesting dynamic to season two because I can only imagine that Dunk and Egg are going to be hunted with every Targaryen sword that they can muster.
Yeah, there'll be people after them. So yeah, that'll be good because that'll add a little extra tension to everything that's going on. We won't ever know when. I mean, I'm assuming it won't happen right away. It'll probably be when everything else is going crazy, and then there'll be some Targaryen soldiers show up. So that should be very interesting.
Yeah, and I'm completely in the dark because I mean that's a pretty huge change
That
because
is, yeah,
while it does kind of make Makor a worse character, it makes for a lot of suspense in season two, I'd imagine. I
yeah.
think that's why they're setting it up that way. But it was so funny when everybody's packing up and we have this little epilogue scene where Makor's riding out and he's like, "Where the fuck's my
Yeah,
son?"
he's looking up and down the line. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it ends. And we
That's
so
it.
the adventures will begin in earnest hopefully next year.
Yeah.
I know they're already in pre-production and it
Yeah,
takes
I originally I had heard that they were going to alternate this and House of the Dragon, but I think House of the Dragon will still remain every 2 years, although I think it only has two more seasons left.
yes,
But this one I believe is going to be every summer, apparently.
which is awesome because they have like a fifth of the budget that House of the Dragon has.
Yeah,
So it's by no means an easy show to make, but as long as they can pump out scripts and get all the scheduling correct, they should be able to. Because I mean, book two is still a very small contained story. I mean, they all are. They're all just the adventures of Dunk and Egg.
right.
These two. It's a buddy cop thing where they're not in. And if you guys saw right before this episode, the spectacle of House of the Dragon contrasts like because there's a teaser trailer before this episode, and I was like, holy shit, I forgot how huge this show
Yeah,
was.
where we see at least five different dragons in the like 90-second teaser, and yeah,
Naval battles and like it's just
yeah,
nothing but like giant armies clashing with it. Like it's a complete 180 from Dunk and Egg. But
yeah, it's gonna be
um
crazy.
so I guess the logical thing to do would just be to wrap up the series. And I know if you've followed us for these 6 weeks, you know our thoughts overall. But I mean, just I'll throw it to you since I've read the books. So, what are your thoughts on being introduced to this world of Dunk and Egg?
Yeah, I love it. My first instinct from the first episode was right. I loved how small and contained it was. I thought it just gave us a lot more time to get to know the characters and just see them and grow with them and also live in a different part of the world of Westeros that we hadn't really lived in before. And so yeah, I'd really enjoyed this season.
Yeah, I'm obviously here for it, and I love going from it's not from Game of Thrones to House of the Dragon. It's been nothing but castle intrigue and politics, and just focusing on the highborn, the highest of the highborn, the kings, queens, lords, and ladies of the high houses, and starting from the bottom up really just gives that extra flavor to this world.
Yeah.
And I loved every single minute. I have no complaints of this entire
Yeah,
and
no, I don't really either. Yeah. Yeah.
so I mean that's wild because Game of Thrones had its problems, especially in the latter seasons. House of the Dragon season two kind of dragged for a while,
Yeah.
but yeah, this was just chef's kiss. Like every single thing was spot on, and the way they were able to expand the source material was just incredible. And every change from the book was justified and well done, and it has my stamp of approval.
Good.
But we don't have to wait long till we jump back into the world of Westeros because we will be back in June
June. Yeah.
talking about House of the Dragon season three. And boy, howdy, they're finally done getting ready for war after 20 hours of TV worth of
Yeah.
preparation. So yeah, season two did drag a little bit, but season three and especially season three, but season three and four should be nothing but like nonstop balls to the wall, set pieces,
Yeah.
spectacle, and dragon action.
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine if they allocated budgets by season, season three probably has the biggest budget. I don't know if they did it that way, but just in terms of as you say, the naval battles, all the CGI they're going to need for the dragons, it's going to be pretty insane and quite the visual spectacle.
Yeah, it's no wonder they take 2 years to make this show.
Yeah.
It's yeah, just the VFX alone is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it for Westeros Unsolicited, and we will. It's awesome that we get a double dip of Westeros in just the span of a couple months. We get this little teaser appetizer that turns out to be the main course of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and we're jumping right back into 100 years before that with House of the Dragon in just a span of 2 to 3 months. So, as
All right.
always, I'm Zach Miller. He's Martin Cooke, and we'll see you in a couple months. Don't worry, we're still coming back with unsolicited film reviews, but this is it for Westeros Unsolicited.
Bye, everyone.